For Pat Cleary in his 8th year, looking for his 71st win, his Edinboro career. Scots in their home white jerseys with the red trim. They'll move left to right. Cal in their away black jerseys, right to left. Edinboro women winning the game earlier today in final fashion. We'll see what happens in this one today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy some Saturday afternoon men's basketball. Naeem Miller, who had a really great night against Mercyhurst on Wednesday. He had 17 points to pace the Fighting Scots. Gets the ball back at the top of the key, working one-on-one with KJ McClurg. Floats it up, can't float it in. And it'll stay with Edinboro. Last touch off of Keith Pallick, the big sophomore forward inside. Last time these two teams matched up, it was all Cal. The Vulcans winning that game 78-63 back on January 11th. Fighting Scots never led in that game, so would love to at least get some sort of a lead here today and try to build off of that. 3 from the way from Jaden Harper, bounces off iron, and the first rebound of the game pulled down by KJ McClurg. Vulcans having a bit of an off year, losing a couple of their best players from last season. Trying to regroup under Danny Sancom. Cam Pollock pops up for a 3. That one glances off the back of the backboard. And Dominic Keys has the board. Jack Gallagher across the timeline. The McDowell graduate struts in, averaging 7 points a game. Has the first 2 of this one tonight on the turnaround J. One of the things Edinboro will want to do this afternoon, something they did not do against Mercyhurst, is get out to a fast start. Lakers had a 13-2 lead early in the game before Edinboro finally got back into it, but just didn't recover. Offensive rebound going to Cal. Trying to fire a pass is DJ Slaughter. Instead threw it into the Edinboro bench. And the Vulcans turn it over for the first time today. Pat Cleary early on imploring his team, trying to push the ball. Naeem Miller, one of the guys who will have to be a part of that today. Looking for the pass from Jack Gallagher, and he gets it this time instead from Jaden Harper. Knocked out of bounds there by the reach of McClurg. Miller on the season, 16 points per game. In this game 3 weeks ago, he had 19 to pace Edinboro in the loss to Cal. Miller, just a senior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, an hour and a half south here of Edinboro. Good work by Jaden Harper over 2 defenders, able to put up the shot and put it down for a pair. And Edinboro's out to a 4-0 lead just 2 minutes into the game. Pollock goes over for Keith Pallick. The big man's 3 is off kilter, and so Edinboro trying to do what the women could not do early in the game today, and that's get off to a big lead. Gallagher inside for Kyrell Green. Back to Miller, thought about a 3 instead, drops it inside, and is called for the offensive foul. Got too greedy trying to fiddle his way inside the paint. So checking into the game, Donald Whitehead, the freshman for this Cal Vulcan team. Whitehead replacing that of DJ Slaughter. From what we were told by the Cal broadcast team, White plays a lot more of the minutes for Cal, although Slaughter normally the one who will start. 2 minutes played in this game. Still a 4-0 lead for Edinboro. And right off the bench, White tries to put one up from 15 feet and can't connect. And back come the Scots. Jack Gallagher, right hand, hip-high dribble, picks it up, and travels. Took one too many steps. Well, Donald Whitehead, a District 10 product out of Hickory High School. Got his team to a D10 semifinal in his junior season. A couple of local homegrown products on the floor today. Gallagher, of course, from McDowell for Edinboro, and Easton Fulmer, who we'll see if we see today for the Fighting Scots, also from the area, the Franklin High School product. Kyrell Green puts up and puts down a 3. The big man shooting from deep. And look out, Edinboro's off to a titanically quick start, 7-0. One of their best starts of the entire season, and they forced a turnover there as that pass was errant off of Cam Pollock. Miller from deep. Cans off the iron, won't fall. As back up the floor come the Vulcans. Have not scored in this game. Almost 3.5 minutes gone. Jermaine Hall bullets it over for Slaughter. Great move by Cam Pollock. Floater up, and Pollock's pass to KJ McClurg is able to connect. Cal finally on the board as McClurg gets the Vulcans within 5. Gallagher on the other end, cutting in, dicing well, past 4 defenders, but couldn't finish with the left hand. On the other end, McClurg one more time. Tried to fiddle in a 3, wouldn't work, and pulled down by the reach of Kyrell Green. Edinboro, a big lineup. Kyrell Green, 6'8", Dominic Keys, 6'7", and then 6'3", 6'4", 6'2" along the other side. There's the 6'7" man, Kyrell Green, trying to work his way inside. He's going to the line for 2 as the foul, first of the game, is called against Jermaine Hall. Kyrell Green, 77% from the charity stripe this season. The Niagara College transfer, played 1 year there, playing third year at Edinboro, able to sink home the first free throw. Very good inside the paint is Kyrell Green. It's actually one of the statistics that Edinboro has been proficient in this season, and that's offensive rebounds. They are second in the conference where that comparison is concerned. As we get a lane violation against Cal, and that's Donald Whitehead who picks it up. So Green gets a chance for yet another one from the line. But the perfect start you could have asked for if you're Edinboro coming into this game. Green able to can the second. And a 9-2 lead for the Fighting Scots. This is how the women's game went to begin. A couple of hours ago, it was just the other way around. It was the Cal women who went out to a 12-2 lead on Edinboro before the Fighting Scots got back in it. McClurg again has the only 4 points of this game for the Vulcans, able to convert on that attempt from in close. Something Pat Cleary really wants to do, put together a full 40-minute game. Edinboro's failed to do that on most all their contests so far this season. Jack Gallagher running out of room for Miller. Open look, stop and pop, swish goes the rock. And Naeem Miller, his first points of the night. Just 6 more games to go for both teams after this one. McClurg again splashes the 3-ball home. He's up to 7. And really the only reason the Vulcans are still in this game early in the first half. So Edinboro's lead's cut to 4 as Green from the parking lot rattles it out. Nearly had himself another 3. On the other end, it's McClurg. He's got 7 one more time. Throws it back for Jermaine Hall. And Cal working it around the point. Finding Cam Pollock. His bid from deep. Falls too shy. And helter-skelter action in the last 30 seconds leads Edinboro with it. Gallagher! Little teardrop, able to make it connect. But slow on the other end is Gallagher. Spinorama, Pollock took one too many steps. And so Gallagher gets the bucket and forces the turnover on the other end. Good start for the Scots, 13-7 as we hit our first media timeout. We'll take it and be back on the Edinboro Fighting Scots TV network.
Together expert faculty, offer programs in high-demand fields, add in a few centuries of tradition. You might call it the future of higher education. We're calling it Pennsylvania Western University. We've combined the resources of California, Clarion, and Edinboro to create a new way to educate, where opportunities are boundless and tomorrow is yours to define. Built on tradition, built for your future. Welcome to Penn West.
Good start for Pat Cleary's Edinboro Fighting Scots on their home floor, leading Cal 13-7. And a pivotal game for Edinboro. Fighting Scots coming in at 5-15 on the season. But again, as we talked about a lot in the women's broadcast, that the top 6 seeds in the conference in each division will make it to the tournament. So Edinboro not going to be hosting a men's game, but they do have a chance to get in. That's all you can ask for. Get in and see what happens. Off the bench. And in for a pair is Dominique Keys, his first 2 points of the game, able to teardrop that one in. Homestead, Pennsylvania senior forward. Part of a big lineup for Pat Cleary, who he started on the floor today. Pollock, bounce pass in, shot coming, and the shot is right down Broadway for Jermaine Hall Jr. Couple of head coaches in the middle of their tiers here for either side. 3 ball off the mark there by Naeem Miller. Danny Sancom, 5th season. A graduate of Wheeling College in 1998. Pat Cleary, of course, graduating here from Edinboro 1 year later in 99. And has been the coach for the last 8 seasons. Jack Gallagher slowly across the timeline with a hip-high dribble. Just hands it right back off for Miller. Miller over for Jaden Harper. He likes to shoot from that range. Cal daring him to do it. Instead, he backpedals and lobs it back out for Gallagher. High screen. Jack just going to take it. That was nowhere close. And Cal gets a free defensive possession there, forcing Edinboro miss. Hall quickly in transition. Splash. Lead cut from 6 to 3 as Jermaine Hall now up to 5 early on for the Vulcans. Only 2 players have factored in scoring so far. Jermaine Hall 5, KJ McClurk 7. Gallagher floats it up. Was looking there for Kyrell Green. Gets it back and makes his first attempt go by the wayside. Able to get in for 2. So Kyrell Green, a good start to this game. Here's a 3 coming on the way by Donald Whitehead. That one splits the nylon. So both teams finding their shooting touch coming out of the first media timeout. Good start for both Edinboro and Cal here in 17-15 game. Miller, Green calling for it, receives it, takes in 1-on-2, locates Dominic Keys, who throws it down with authority. Good 1-2 punch from Edinboro, giving them the 4-point lead right back. Dominic Keys, Kyrell Green, Naeem Miller, all 3 of them so good working inside the paint as Hall dials up a triple and gets it again. Jermaine Hall Jr. up to 8 now, and he is starting to light things up from beyond the arc as the Vulcans 3 3-pointers now in the first quarter, shooting 33%. 8 minutes played, first half. Glad you're with us here on the Fighting Scots Sports Network. Edinboro nursing a 1-point lead. Harper, beautiful fake, tries to teardrop that in and rattles it home. Jaden Harper with some nice shimmy, shake, and bake moves for the sophomore guard. Graduate of McDowell High School. Another one of those local products. Edinboro with it back after the miss. Miller. Edinboro working the outside. You see 4 players high. Miller had it go off of his foot, and it bounces right to Hall Jr. Throws it inside. Left-handed attempt. Too strong for Cam Pollock. Who touched it last? Cal did, and Edinboro gets it back. With 11:13 to go in the first half. Back and forth we go. 21-18. Edinboro in front of the Cal Vulcans.
Just playing with it. Tough.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to say thank you to the Edinboro Captain and our Edinboro cheerleading team.
21-18, Edinboro in front of Cal as we come back from our second media timeout. Good start to this game for both sides. The shooting touch has really picked up on both ends. Kyrell Green leading the Scots in points. He has 7. Jermaine Hall Jr. has hit 3 of 4 from the field, 8 points to pace the Vulcans so far in the early going. Fighting Scots looking for win number 6 on the season and what is game number 21 for Edinboro. Starters staying out there. Very few substitutions so far in this game. Green tries to back his way in. was hounded on the way up, and he will be fouled. It's going to go against KJ McClurg. Quick pace to start this game as well. Just 3 total fouls in the game. 2 by the Vulcans. Fighting Scots defense has been a clean sheet for the most part so far. Gallagher with it back at the top of the key. Getting the high screen from Keys. Whips it over. 3-pointer. Green from the parking lot. No problem. Who says big man can't shoot? Chalk that up on your bingo card. Kyrell Green's up to 10 in the early going for Edinboro. Other end, Keith Palak first touch on net. That one won't fall. And Edinboro back up the other way. Gallagher with speed. Trying to drive in to District 10 products. Gallagher and Whitehead going one-on-one. Now Miller. 1-on-2. He is fouled, but took the contact too early, and so the offensive charge against Miller. Second foul on Naeem Miller, and so it'll bring in Bryce Spriggs for the Scots. Junior out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is Spriggs. Healthy totals so far this season for Bryce. He's played sparing minutes, but 6.5 points a game when he does get off the bench. Pulls down 6 rebounds as well per average. So Edinboro, like we said, their rebounding skills proficient, to say the least, so far this season, if there's a positive to take for the first 20 games. Whitehead putting the ankle breakers there on Gallagher. Gets it back, but out of room in the corner. Edinboro pressing. Instead, it's a 3-pointer way off by Jermaine Hall. And Green's able to pull it down. Halfway point first half. 6-point lead for Edinboro, as they've had the lead the majority of this first half. Green again from 3. Why not? Kyrell Green. It's raining threes for number 22. 13 points. 3 of 4 from beyond the arc in the first half. Jaden Harper, the foul on the defensive end for Edinboro. And the first free throws of the game coming for Donald Whitehead. Well, there's always a belief, I believe, amongst many casual basketball fans that big men don't shoot threes. They just back into the paint, get rebounds, collect assists. But with the game morphing into what it is now, especially at the higher levels in the NBA, you have to be able to shoot from everywhere. And that's something that Pat Cleary, Danny Sancom, any coach in the PSAC will tell you has to happen. Rashawn Barron checks in for Edinboro as Whitehead is able to hit the second of 2. And with the first touch, Bryce Spriggs across the timeline. Edinboro working with a 7-point lead. They have continued to dominate inside the paint, trying to do that here, and Rashawn Barron right off the bench collects 2. Whitehead on the other side. Look out, heavy contact there. Green hacked him on the way up. And Donald Whitehead at 5'10", Green at 6'8". Nearly a foot difference between the two. Whitehead to the line. Majority of the crowd from the women's games still on hand to watch this Saturday afternoon contest. Again, as we go down the stretch, games so important for both Edinboro, Cal, and really any team fighting for the conference playoff berth. PSAC tournament just a few weeks away. 3.5 to be exact. And for Edinboro, you'd like to think, with a couple of home games coming up, chances to play the likes of Clarion and Gannon at the end of the season, a win today would be a big step forward in maybe getting them into the tournament. You never know. Still a lot of time left in the year. 6 more games after this. Chance again for Barron. Couldn't hit the second, and now an open lane for Keith Palak to the rack. And one. Count it. Gallagher picked up the foul, and hitting the deck is Palak, but he's got the 3-point play. So Jack Gallagher picks up the foul there, and Pat Cleary will send him over to the bench. Pat Cleary says, you gotta, and I understand what he's saying there, you have to just let him go. 3-point play completed. Back to a 4-point game. Again, the Vulcans winning the first game, a 15-point victory between the two teams on January 11th. And hitting the deck was Kyrell Green, no foul called, and with numbers come the Vulcans. Left hand won't fall, second chance, in there was Hall Jr. And a foul called that's going to go against Edinboro as Hall went up to the basket. And so another couple of free throws here coming for the Vulcans. Jermaine Hall Jr. on the season, 72% from beyond the arc. A two-sport athlete in high school. Hall was a district track champion in his hometown of Baltimore, Maryland. He is the only player on this Vulcans roster that hails from the state of Maryland. Second of two free throws coming here for Cal. Chance to cut it to two, and they do. Free throws were a big component of the women's game earlier today. Edinboro only missed 4 from the free throw line in 30 attempts earlier this afternoon. Part of the reason they got the 83-77 win. Good start for Cal. They're 7 for 7 from the charity stripe early on. Get a whistle and an offensive foul going against Edinboro. Rashawn Barron picks it up. So he's had a bit of everything. He's had a couple of looks, a basket, and 2 fouls. Dominic Keys will come back in. A whistle and an inadvertent noise coming from the scores table, so we'll do it all again. Good pace to start this one off. 8:22 to go here in the first half. From Southern Erie County here in Edinboro. Pop-up three for the lead is right down Broadway for Donald Whitehead. And the Hickory product stinging the Fighting Scots there to give Cal their first lead of the night. So Edinboro now reeling. It's Gallagher in distress for Keys. He'll take it and nearly got it to fall. Clanged off the back of the iron, and then he's called for the foul as Keys pushing off on Keith Palick. And Keys not happy. Won't matter, though. Can't argue with the official, especially with what happened in the women's game earlier today. Timeout on the floor. Edinboro trailing by 1. Latter stages, first half. .7:53 to go in the first half, and a tight one from Edinboro, 30-29. Cal leading the Fighting Scots. Here on this first Saturday in the month of February, hope you and yours are staying safe and warm. A chilly one here in Edinboro today. Wind chills of -5 to begin the day, but that is not the coldest wind chill in America. What have I told you last night? In New Hampshire, a place called Mount Washington, where there is a National Weather Service Center, that the wind chill dropped as low as 108 degrees below zero last night. That is a record for the coldest wind chill in American history. And to add on top of that, there were winds of 120 miles an hour. So if you think it's bad here, just trek a little bit to the northeast and see what you feel after a couple of hours. Anyway, I digress. Back to the court. Edinboro trailing by 3, and they've got the rock here with Naeem Miller. Miller so far in this game today, just 2 points. Looking to extend it. Puts it up with a floater, won't fall. Rebound coming in there was Keys trying to put it back, and instead he draws contact. So Dominique Keys will be heading to the Charity stripe for 2. Edinboro suddenly in this first half has gotten into significant foul trouble. They really didn't have a lot of issues in the first 10 minutes, and since then have picked up a boatload of fouls. So for the rest of the half, Cal is in the bonus. Miller good on both of 2 free throws. If you missed our women's broadcast earlier today, Edinboro getting a victory over Cal, 83-77, as they now sit in second place overall in the PSAC West Division standings. Donald Whitehead's had himself a good game so far. 10 points, one of 3 players in double figures for the Vulcans. Hands it over for Keith Palak. The running floater attempt won't fall, and a block is called. Edinboro doesn't like it. The bench all getting up in support of Jaden Harper, but Harper's getting the foul. Tough play there for Jaden Harper going against the 6'8 Palak. Keith Palak out of Woodbine, New Jersey, second on the team in rebounds last season for Cal. In what was just his freshman season. Hits the first of 2. State title winner in high school. Part of a very loaded and stacked New Jersey high school basketball circuit. A lot of really talented teams in the New Jersey, New York area. Biggest lead of the day for Cal, 3 points, as they've started to move the needle a little bit in their direction here in the middle stages of the first half. Naeem Miller, no one to throw it to, just gives it up to the corner. 3-pointer on the way, nowhere close for Kyrell Green. But Miller gets the boomerang ball right back. Gives it up. Easton Fulmer, the Franklin grad, tried to tie it, couldn't. Third chance coming for Edinboro. Like we said, second in the conference in offensive rebounds per game. Bryce Spriggs trying to get a third chance to go. Gives it up. Keys, and finally Edinboro converts. I looked right over at Danny Sandcombe, the Cal head coach, and he said, we can't give that up. Those were the words out of his mouth. 3 chances for Edinboro. Here's KJ McClurg on the other end. Gives it up. Jermaine Hall Jr. for 3, cans it. Hall up to 13 points. And between Jermaine Hall, KJ McClurg, and Donald Whitehead, they have combined for 33 of the 37 Cal points. Now a chance for more on the other end. Here's a 3 for Palak, off kilter. Keith Palak is having a rough start to this game, now 0 of 5 from the field, just 4 points. But again, we talked in the women's game how Cal doesn't like to use their bench. Same here on the men's side. Of the 5 starters, all of them have been in the game the entire time, outside of 1 or 2 quick substitutions. And all the points have come from the starting 5. Bryce Spriggs, high screen from Keys. Back over for Miller. Working one-on-one. Has Fulmer open if he wants him. Instead comes to the hoop himself and draws contact. 5:37 to go here in this first half of play. Edinboro trailing here by 4. Second foul going against KJ McClurg. And Miller splits the nylon for the first of 2. Naeem Miller, one of several players on this Edinboro team that are just trying to grow in their stature. Miller has been a big scorer for Edinboro this season, but Pat Cleary in the last 3 years has had a lot of transfers come in, a lot of local homegrown talent for Edinboro on this roster, but just still trying to figure things out and fit the mold of what Cleary wants. Here comes Jermaine Hall for 3. Can't dial it in. And the Fighting Scots a chance to take the lead right back. Couple of guys up high for Edinboro, the 2 big men working. It's Miller to the rack, no shot, didn't go anyway. He's called for the travel. Edinboro gives it up. Pat Cleary can't believe it. Miller thought he was fouled. And look out on the ensuing inbound. Easton Fulmer really tried to Superman dive. Well, Pat Cleary needs to be careful, especially given the circumstances, like we said, of the women's basketball game. 3 technical fouls were called. 2 bench warnings were called. All of them against the Cal Vulcans, but Cleary, a fiery competitor, never sits on the bench, always up trying to get his team as energized as possible, especially given the circumstances of how important today is. Great footwork by Jermaine Hall. It's topped right back in volleyball style by Keith Powlick. Cal moving their feet exquisitely on that possession to take a 4-point lead. Fighting Scots had as many as a 5-point lead in the early going of this game. Kind of cooled off since then. Here's Easton Fulmer to the rack. Count it and a foul. Easton Fulmer, the man who won a district title with Franklin just last year, going to the line for a 3-point play. Well, if you go down the Edinboro roster, we talk about homegrown talent. So many players on this team that come from the Erie, Crawford, or Warren County area. Jack Gallagher, of course, we talked about out of McDowell. Logan Summerhill, Franklin Regional High School. Easton Fulmer out of Franklin. Ryan Lajovic, who has played sparingly this year, a Sharpsville product. James Sitter, last year's Player of the Year for the Fairview Tigers, sitting as just a freshman for this Scots team. Jaden Harper out of McDowell, and Logan Donahue, General McLean grad, a junior on this squad for the Scots. Jermaine Hall's three-pointer now up to 16 on the afternoon. 4-point lead restored back for Cal. Miller flushes it out. Gallagher, right-hand dribble, floats it off iron. And a foul going against Dominique Keys away from the play. That'll take us to our final media timeout of the first half. Close game so far between Edinboro and Cal. 42-38 our score. .348 to go in the first half as we wind down the opening 20 minutes. Edinboro trailing Cal 42-38. Coming up in our halftime report, we'll have scores from out of town in the PSAC, a very tight-knit group at the top of the West Division here in men's basketball. We'll also have first half stats and upcoming schedule for Edinboro men's basketball, as they'll just have 6 games to go after this one today. Well, during the break, I was reminded, and I am regretful to say that I'm embarrassed by missing this individual. We talked about all the people who are homegrown products for this Edinboro men's basketball team. The one I didn't mention, Alex J., graduate assistant coach for Edinboro, who played 4 years for the Scots. Graduated from General McLean in 2017. I sat next to him at graduation. So, Alex, I apologize. I'm embarrassed. Want to make sure I mention you, and again, thanks to us up here in the booth for the reminder. All right, back to the court. Edinboro down by 5, largest deficit of the game. Kyrell Green back on the floor. Floater is right down Broadway for 2. So Kyrell Green is doing it from beyond the arc. He's doing it from mid-range and hitting nearly everything he touches. 15 points now for Green today. It's now just a 3-point game. Donald Whitehead's been hitting everything too. It's nothing but air. Rebound blocked in front by Fulmer with the rejection. And Edinboro a chance to tie. Pat Cleary barking out directions from the Edinboro bench, looking for win number 71 this season. That'll help get him closer. Dominique Keys for a Phi Slamma Jamma throwdown. Cuts it to 1. Keys now up to 10 points at Edinboro. Starting to move the ball out of the media timeout offensively. Powlick for Cal. Dishes it back out. And a foul call. DJ Slaughter is back into the game for the Vulcans. Easton Fulmer picks it up. DJ Slaughter started this game for the Vulcans and since then has not played very much. Was replaced by Donald Whitehead after the first media timeout. Gets the first of two. So again, short benches for both teams here. Rosters in basketball never as big as rosters, say, for sports like football or hockey, but it really depends on, if you're a coach, whether you want to hone in on your 5 starters or try to go deep with your bench. And as Callie Wheeler on the women's side likes to go 9-10 deep, Pat Cleary okay with the majority of his starters. Naeem Miller being hounded by Slaughter. Gets the high screen, goes between the legs, dishes it off Green. Foul call. Green was peppered inside the paint. Cal draws the foul. 2:20 to go here in half number 1 from Edinboro University, the Fighting Scots. As we said, just 6 more games on the season after this one tonight. And of those 6, 3 of them coming at home. We'll have their schedule like we said in the halftime report. Miller the high screen. So far tonight, 4 points. Foul called away from the play. Who picks it up? Still going against Cal. And Danny Sandcombe, let's say, is less than pleased. DJ Slaughter has picked up 2 fouls on this offensive trip alone for Edinboro. Puts the Fighting Scots in the bonus. Dominic Keys, a 1-and-1. First is good. So Pat Cleary, unless the team suffers a big collapse in the final 2 minutes here, will have to be happy with the way his team played here in the first half. Want to clean up the fouls, but for the most part, Edinboro has had good success shooting today. So far, 51% from the field. That is well above their season average. And just 41% all year from the hardwood. Here's Cam Pollock giving it up inside for Palak. Palak over across, and the right-hand finish by Jermaine Hall Jr. Now up to 18 points for the Vulcans. He's, like we said, just one of 3 players that really has factored in at all for Cal today. Other end, Bryce Spriggs off the bench coming in. Ryan Lajovic on for Edinboro at this point. Gives it up inside. Edinboro working it around. Jack Gallagher with a reversal and off the pane for a pair. As we hit the 90-second mark here of the first half, Edinboro has the lead back, 48-47. Hall, just a small dish inside. Palak with authority. Rotates and puts it in. Gallagher. Up, no, boy, nearly taking that 3 there was Kyrell Green. Set back to Gallagher with space. Tiptoes the baseline. Back to Green. He's a threat to shoot from there and nearly had another triple. Green now at 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Speaking of threes, it's Donald Whitehead. Timeout. Cal with 54.5 seconds to go. Danny Sandcombe with a word for the official before he enters the huddle. We'll take a timeout, 30 seconds. We'll be back here on the Edinboro Sports Network.
Together expert faculty. Offer programs in high-demand fields. Add in a few centuries of tradition. You might call it the future of higher education. We're calling it Pennsylvania Western University. We've combined the resources of California, Clarion, and Edinboro to create a new way to educate, where opportunities are boundless and tomorrow is yours to define. Built on tradition, built for your future. Welcome to Penn West.
Good scoring prowess so far through the opening 19 minutes and 6 seconds. Cal 49, Edinboro 46 as we wind down the first half. Again, the halftime report coming up, scores from around the PSAC, stats, things to look forward to on the schedule docket for Edinboro coming up in our halftime report. 45 to go in the half, now 44. Shot clock at 12 seconds as it's kicked over Cam Pollock for 3, splits nylon. And the lead now balloons to 6 for Cal as timeout is called here on the floor. 30-second timeout called by Pat Cleary in Edinboro. And we'll step aside for that 30 seconds and be back after this.
Bring together expert faculty, offer programs in high-demand fields, add in a few centuries of tradition. You might call it the future of higher education. We're calling it Pennsylvania Western University. We've combined the resources of California, Clarion, and Edinboro to create a new way to educate, where opportunities are boundless and tomorrow is yours to define. Built on tradition, built for your future. Welcome to Penn West.
Edinboro down by 6 as we wind down the first half. Largest lead of the game for Cal at this point. Really good offensive touch by either side. We've had points in bunches in the first half. Edinboro looking for more. Naeem Miller inside the paint, just tries to float one up. That didn't have a good probability on it. And now Cal can hold for the final shot of the half. Donald Whitehead has had himself a half so far. 10 points, one of 3 players in double figures for the Vulcans. Gets directions from Danny Sancom, and we'll see who takes the last shot. Clock under 10, and now Whitehead will set it up. Gets the screen, pops back out for 3, too short. Rebound in front, foul called. It was Keith Palak there to try to put it back up. Jermaine Hall also there as well, and Hall's going to the line for 2. Double bonus for Cal here late in this first half. Edinboro was in some foul trouble really early on, and since then has had trouble keeping Cal off the free throw line. This will be the 16th attempt today for the Vulcans. And just like the Edinboro women did earlier in the 1 p.m. start, Cal's free throw shooting has been great. They're 15 of 16 from the charity stripe so far in the first half. A chance for an 8-point lead. Hall gets it. And now maybe time for one more heave-ho for Edinboro. Just 9/10 of a second on the clock. Well, Pat Cleary has to like the way his team played for the first 15 minutes or so. But the Vulcans, ever so good down the stretch, have extended the lead to 8 as we hit the halftime break. Teams to the locker room. We're coming in place overall in the Western Division. Fighting Scots really needing to win this game if they want to stay alive in tournament consideration. A loss wouldn't eliminate them, but it would make the route back to the top 6 in the division nearly impossible. KJ McClurg, who in that first half tallied 10 points, dials up a 3 to start and drains it in. And Cal, 15 seconds into the second half, has a double-digit lead. McClurg was one of 3 players for the Vulcans in double figures in this game for the first 20 minutes. Edinboro's defense was less than spectacular, and their offense less than spectacular there as well. As on the other end, Donald Whitehead puts it off the glass and in for a deuce, and immediately the Scots call timeout. Cal blazing out of the gates in the first 30 seconds of the second half. We'll take a 30-second timeout. Be back after this. Not an ideal first 35 seconds for the Fighting Scots. They give up a quick 2 and then an immediate 3 for Cal, and the Vulcans are off to a 6-0 run to start the second half here on Edinboro. Largest lead of the day for Cal. Fighting Scots started with the lead. They were up by as many as 8 in this game early in the first half. Now going to have to claw their way back. It is crunch time and possibly season on the line time for Pat Cleary and Edinboro. Kyrell Green to Naeem Miller. Miller 4 points in that first half. Green at 15. Jaden Harper on the wing. Back to Gallagher. Shimmies his way in. Right hand rejected, but a foul called as it was DJ Slaughter coming in there to take it away. But he's called for the infraction. Third foul on DJ Slaughter. That'll bring Donald Whitehead back into the game. As Gallagher to the line for 2. Edinboro hasn't had many chances from the free throw line, but they are 10 for 10 from the stripe today. Free throws all throughout this doubleheader this afternoon have been very, very good. Edinboro women earlier today. Edinboro men perfect. Cal men today 16 of 17. Got to take advantage of those opportunities. They do not come that often. And missed free throws can kill you in a game. KJ McClurg giving it back up for Palak. Palak is swatted away by Kyrell Green. And Edinboro with the ball back. Kyrell Green saying, not today, my fella. And using that big 6'8" reach to keep Cal off the scoreboard. So Edinboro a chance to avert disaster and cut it back to a single-digit game after coming out sluggish to start the second half. And they're about to. Miller off the glass, off the feed from Green. And Edinboro has gotten those 6 points back in a jiffy. It's back to a 9-point game. Jermaine Hall, left to right, go the Vulcans. Top of the keys, Cam Pollock. Struts his way in, lost his dribble. And Gallagher sprints a breakout for Miller. Takes it himself to the rack, can't fall. Rebound inside, able to get it, and a foul as Dominic Keys was trying to put one up from close range. Pat Cleary likes the effort from his Fighting Scots, who now have a chance to cut it to 7 as Whitehead picks up the foul. Well, earlier in the season, Edinboro at this point could have potentially folded, especially with the way that second half started, down 13. But you have to imagine, as we've talked about, that Pat Cleary and the team know that this could potentially be it. If you want to make the tournament and extend your season, you have to win this game. So now just a 7-point game. The Scots sitting on an 8-0 run after a bad first 30 seconds. Jermaine Hall on the feed to McClurg. McClurg fade away, rattles in and out. Offensive rebound, Hall kicking it out. It's Keith Palak. Back to McClurg. Inside the Palak on the give and go, and the left-hand finish gives Cal 2 more. Such good ball movement for the Vulcans on that possession. They've done that a couple of times today and fooled the Scots. Jaden Harper dials up a 3. Well falling, got the bucket and the foul. Jaden Harper, while on his backside, gets the 3 ball to go, and it's now just a 6-point game. Well, really no reason to foul there if you're Cam Pollock. Harper had an open look. Pollock there just tried to get greedy, and the 4-point play completed. So it's a 5-point game now. Edinboro really coming on in the last 2 minutes here of this second half. What will Cal do to try to buck the trend? Here's McClurg. Inside was looking for Caden Hanna. Hanna couldn't get it. And back up come the Scots. It's Gallagher. Swiped away by McClurg. And he's got an open path to the basket. Lays it in. That's a backbreaker for Edinboro after forcing the turnover. Gallagher just giving it right back. Can the Scots respond? Cleary calling out the signals from the safety of his bench. As Miller comes in with the right hand, strong to the lane, got knocked down to the floor, and slow to get up is Naeem Miller. KJ McClurg, his 3rd foul, will send Miller to the line. We mentioned Caden Hanna. It's his first minutes into the game here for the Cal Vulcans. Caden Hanna used to play games around this area. A transfer from LaRoche College who plays in the AMCC. Same conference as Penn State Barron, which is just a few miles up the road here from Edinboro. In fact, he was so good he was named the ACC Newcomer of the Year as a freshman and made the move from Division III to Division II. And he'll inbound now after Edinboro cuts it back to 5. We've gone back and forth, teeter-totter action to start the second half. Can Edinboro find a way to mount the comeback in this game? That won't help. Beautiful feed from Hall to McClurg. And the Fighting Scots are starting to get exposed inside the paint. So far, Scots more points in the paint than Cal, 6-20-18. But they've just struggled the last couple of minutes. Gallagher putting up a wild shot. He gets fouled. Much to the chagrin of Danny Sandcombe, he wanted to travel, but Cal instead is whistled for the infraction. It's Keith Palick who gets it. Relatively young team is this Fighting Scots squad. A lot of, like we said, young players we listed off earlier in the broadcast. All the guys that are not suiting up today, that are from around this area, who will likely be part of the team moving forward. Seeing a little bit of Easton Fulmer, the freshman from Franklin. Fulmer's dad here in attendance today. Saw him in the front row of the stands. The head coach of Franklin boys basketball, who just beat Warren yesterday. How about John Sesha for the Franklin Knights? Keep an eye on that name in the college ranks. He had 10 blocks in the win against Warren last night for a team that's just a few miles away from here. Dominic Keys' strength pulling down the rebound, and Miller will cross half court into the front court. Inside, it's Keys again. Pulled down the rebound, gets rewarded. And Dominic Keys is up to 16 points, team lead in that category. Edinboro's trimmed it to 3. Palick searching for a teammate, finds McClurg, and he gets hacked by Gallagher, who got too greedy moving inside. That'll take us to a timeout. 15:44 to go. Edinboro has starved off a big deficit and cut it to 3. We're back. Early stages, second half from Macomb Fieldhouse. Edinboro trails at 65-62, but the deficit was as much as 13 early in the second half. Scots have weathered off a Vulcan storm and have managed to chip away at this deficit. Want to mention as well as we roll through our broadcast here that we'll have more coverage here on the Fighting Scot television network coming up as soon as Saturday evening when the Fighting Scots take on Slippery Rock for a men-women doubleheader. 1 and 3 o'clock the time for those games as well. Out of the timeout, Donald Whitehead across his chest, able to find Keith Palick. His three-pointer is true. First three-pointer of the night for Palick, now just 1 of 4. In what's been a struggle so far for the sophomore forward. Miller on the other end for Edinboro was trying to find Keys. Instead, backs it out. Kyrell Green from deep rattles around. Can't find the net. And with speed comes Whitehead up the other way. Inside. Palick rechecked it again. Green said no. His second block of the second half. Miller comes back down Broadway with the right hand. Floats it in. Draws the block and is headed to the line. Tell you what, Kyrell Green today may not have the perfect stature every game, may not always make the right play, but goodness, he has been tremendous today. 15 points, 3 blocks, keeping Edinboro in this game. Naeem Miller good on the first of 2. Edinboro today, not that I want to employ the announcer's jinx, but 19 of 19 from the free throw line today. Of course I did. Now they're 19 of 20 as the second free throw is missed. But the offensive rebound to Jack Gallagher. Out for Jaden Harper. His 3 off kilter. Rebound pulled down by Caden Hanna. I'm getting death stares here in the press box. I deserve it. Should just keep my mouth shut and let the game go on. 5-point game as we eclipse the 15-minute mark here in the second half. Whitehead for 2. That one off the mark. And quickly comes Gallagher. He's 1 on 4. Needs reinforcements. Gets him as Naeem Miller with the rock at the top of the circle. Back out Gallagher. Drawing directions. Feeds it inside. This is Kyrell Green. Green 1-on-1. Now 1 and 2. Big reach. Won't fall. Trying to get the rebound was Keys, but he was boxed out by 3 black jerseys. And up the other side of the floor comes Whitehead. Looking for the kick. Gets it. Wide open KJ McClure. Beautiful pump. Inside feed. Not able to connect is Caden Hanna. Cal did everything right except make the basket. And Edinboro out of Dodge. Still a 5-point game. Somehow Edinboro escaping on that defensive possession. Here's Miller. Not a lot of open space. Vulcans crowding the paint as Miller has it taken away by Palak. Just underneath the basket, and Miller is called for the foul. Third foul on Miller, just a second team foul of the second half for the Fighting Scots. Bit of the reverse of what was the case in the first half. Edinboro had the fouls early, and Cal was relatively clean on the sheet. But 16 fouls already for the Vulcans. Jermaine Hall giving it up. Driving in Whitehead. Lost the dribble. Gets it back. Fires a bullet to Hall. Back to Whitehead. Can he keep it in? Yes, he can. 8 seconds to shoot. Whitehead working one-on-one with Dominic Keys. He won't win that height battle, but distributes it in. Keys with a mini block. Shot clock expires, and Edinboro gets it back. Donald Whitehead is 5'10". He's got a heart of gold, but against 6'7" Dominic Keys, that's a bit of a mismatch inside. Rashawn Barron checking back in for the Scots. We'll see who he replaces. It looks like Keys is going to come off. Got up a bit gingerly there on that last possession. Just past 4:30 here on this first Saturday in February. Hope you're enjoying your weekend with us. Hope you're staying warm, too, on this blistery cold day in southern Erie County. Kyrell Green to Jack Gallagher, top of the key. The McDowell product coming in. Offensive foul called. Kyrell Green set the screen too early. And Pat Cleary is not pleased with that call. Cleary has let the officials have it a couple of times today. Might have to be careful. Again, remember, we set the precedent for bench violations in the last game when there were 2 bench warnings against Cal and 3 technicals. But the Vulcans give it right back. The offensive foul called against Cal, and that's going against Caden Hanna. So the Fighting Scots will be in the bonus now for the last 12:57 and change of this game. Still a lot of time left. And Edinboro will take those freebies anytime they can get them. 68-63. It was close on the women's side, close on the men's side. How about a triple to cut it to 2 for Harper? Couldn't get it. A whistle and a foul on the ensuing rebound. And it's against the Fighting Scots. It's going to go against Rashawn Barron. Edinboro starting to get into some foul trouble here. 3 of the 5 on the floor right now with 3 fouls. Naeem Miller with 3. Jack Gallagher has 3. And Barron just picked up his 3rd. So Pat Cleary going to have to shuffle the deck a little bit as we go down the stretch to keep his guys in the game. What a beautiful feed there inside for Palak, but Palak couldn't finish. Comes up holding his noggin as he jets back down to the defensive side. Gallagher with a spider dribble. Back for Green. Corner, Harper's open. Tries the triple. Got the back of the backboard. And nothing further. Here comes Cal. Whitehead. Driving. Kick back for Cam Pollock. Reverses with Whitehead for three. Bang! Donald Whitehead switching places with Pollock, and it worked like a charm. Cal back up by 8. Gallagher on the other end for Edinboro, spinning his way in. Losing the dribble, trying to bank it home, didn't get the friendly roll. And now the lead for Cal at 8, a chance to become double digits yet again. Whitehead, pop and stop three, can't get it. Rebound comes up in Cal's possession. Couple of quick touch passes for Cam Pollock. And back for McClurg. And now Whitehead again. Second chances are something Edinboro's had so many times this season. Miscommunication, Whitehead rattles it in. 2 defenders went one way, Whitehead went the other, and the lead restored to 10. With 11:10 to go in the second half. All that work for Edinboro in the last 4 minutes and change. Wiped off the board. Chance in front for Barron. Able to bank it back home, and Edinboro cuts it to 8 again. Some miscommunication by both sides here in the last 60 seconds plus. Palak starting the rotation. Throws it inside. It's Palak again. Pollock to Palak. And Keith Palak is up to 16 points in this game. Only had 6 in the first half. 10 here in half number 2. A game so important for both teams here. Cal trying to keep their stranglehold on the number 6 seed in the conference. Barron, teardrop, won't fall, and then a foul going against that of Jaden Harper. As he tried to pick up the rebound and instead got the shoulder of Jermaine Hall. We'll take a timeout. Be back right after this here on the Fighting Scots Sports Network. Nearing the halfway point, half number 2 here from Edinboro University. Edinboro Fighting Scots trailing Cal 75-65 on this Saturday. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. Isaac Petcash joining you high atop Macomb Fieldhouse. Last home game for Edinboro until next Saturday when they face off against Slippery Rock. The Rock right now in a battle with Seton Hill. They trail by 9 with 2 minutes to go in that game. Back here, it's a 10-point affair. Cal looking to make it more as cutting in is Keith Palak, and his short-range bid won't go. Palak yelling at himself on the way back down the floor. Firecracker is Keith Palak, 16 points today for the Vulcans. Gallagher picks it up off the carpet, dishes it for Bryce Spriggs. Back inside, it's Kyrell Green. Backing in with a handle on the ball. Finds Gallagher, 10 to shoot. Back Spriggs, pull up, jumper too strong. Vulcans trying to stretch this lead. Right now sitting at 6-9 in the conference. 9 wins, 12 losses overall. A big drop-off from last season when they went 23-10. And nearly upset IUP in the conference tournament. That nearly was a highlight reel play. Jermaine Hall still able to poke it back in. But what a play that could have been from Hall if he'd have been able to slam it home. Fighting Scots, largest deficit of the day was 13, right now 12. Green backs his way in traffic, won't go. Keys just swatting it off the board on the rebound. Green, third chance, gets fouled. And Kyrell Green is heading to the line. Third foul on Cam Pollock. Edinboro right now in foul trouble as well in this game. As we go down the stretch here with 9 minutes to go. Kyrell Green missing the first of two. Edinboro from the line today, 19 of 21. On the flip side, Cal 16 of 17. They have not struggled much either. Second free throw good by Kyrell Green. Scots are scoring today. That's not really the problem. They're still sitting from the field at 43%. Just aren't getting a lot of stops on defense, and that's been the big issue for Pat Cleary and company in the red and white. Beautiful bullet feed for Cam Pollock, and he hits the coffin corner triple. How small of a window do you have to fiddle that ball into there on that possession for Cal? Doesn't really make much of a difference. Here's Jaden Harper. Right hand dribble, now to the left. Locates Naeem Miller. High steps to the three-point line, bouncing it for Kyrell Green. Green with a head fake, drives in, too strong. Second chance won't fall, third chance no. Another fourth chance. Dominic Keys swatted away by Jermaine Hall Jr. Cal would not let that go. And now the Vulcans just slow playing it, lead at 14. And what you'd call danger time right now for Edinboro, they need a stop and then they need a run. Johnson to the corner again. Pollock right there, nearly had a second straight three. But Edinboro out of dodge. Here's Bryce Spriggs. Spriggs, right hand. Did he lose the dribble? He got fouled. And Spriggs very lucky because it appeared he wasn't going to keep the ball very much longer. 7:51 to play from Edinboro. The Scots trail by 14. Couple of scores for you around the PSAC West Division. Game has just gone final at Slippery Rock, Edinboro's opponent next Saturday. 83-72, Seton Hill knocks off the Rock, so they now sit at 13-9 in the conference. Seton Hill, the number 5 seed at the moment, just 2 games in front of Cal, so the Vulcans were hoping they might be able to try to move up. That won't happen. IUP 74 over Gannon 54 with 2 minutes to go, so the Crimson Hawks going to go to 22-0, going into a gigantic Monday showdown at Mercyhurst, where the Lakers trying to knock off the Crimson Hawks in the regular season. Second half action from UPJ, the Panthers leading Clarion 69-68. Here at Edinboro, the Scots have at times been close. They cut the deficit here against Cal to 3 points midway through the second half, but the Vulcans have just responded in kind since then. Bryce Spriggs, second of 2, front iron and short. So just a 13-point deficit now for Edinboro, and the Vulcans will likely slow play this as we move down the stretch. A little bit of press defense here for Edinboro, nearly creating the turnover. Donald Whitehead gets it back. Good game today for Donald Whitehead, 15 points for the red and black. Another guy who's done well is Keith Palak, now up to 18 as he slithers in like a snake in the grass for 2. Largest lead of the night at this point for Cal, 15. Dominic Keys, can he change it? he can't. We get a foul called against Cal as Keys trying to work his way inside. Third foul on Keith Pallick. Puts Edinboro in the double bonus, so maybe one positive to come out of the last 7 minutes here. Edinboro will be shooting 2 free throws moving forward. One more for Dominic Keys. 60% on the line for the season. Able to hit that one as well. Edinboro's field goal percentage has dipped here in the second half. That's at 41 for the game, but just 23% here in the final 13 minutes of half number 2. 4 of 17 from the field in total. Meanwhile, Cal has gotten themselves to 46.5%. You'd love to be around the 50, even 51, 52% mark for a game in the PSAC if you want to win. It's not easy to win games in this conference, as Hall's able to teardrop it in, now up to 26. Just with a conference so deep, so many great coaches, incredible game plans, it's tough to win when you score 70, 75 points. Sometimes you have to get to 80, 90, and in this case for Edinboro, they have to get to 100. Good pace there from Naeem Miller. He's able to can the triple, and Edinboro forces the turnover on the other end. Jaden Harper in for 2. And Cal can't believe it. Danny Sandcombe is saying, hey, my guy got hit in the face. Edinboro applying the press now. Whitehead just able to get out. Edinboro looking for more here on the defensive end, but inside they work it. Does Cal, and a quick shot and a 2 for Keith Pallick. Eliminates that run. Well, the Fighting Scots got up off the carpet for a few seconds there and started to just try to get back in the game. As they get the 3, they get the turnover in the 2, but Pallick again, so strong with the right hand. Pallick now the second player for the Cal Vulcans today that has factored in more than 20 points. He's up to 21 so far here in this game, with 6:13 and counting in the rest of this contest tonight. Miller low below his knees. Back to Kyrell Green. Works it in. Gives it up for Dominique Keys. And we get an offensive foul. Yes, offensive foul against Dominique Keys. And for Edinboro, another turnover in the offensive zone. They are now up to, in this game, 13. Cal has been very clean with the ball today. They've picked up fouls, but have only turned it over 7 times. And a frustration foul going there against Jaden Harper. 4 fouls now for the sophomore. Crowd here at Macomb Fieldhouse, not a lot of energy right now. There was a palpable buzz in the building about 3 hours ago for the women's game. And early on the men's contest, they were excited as well. But Cal has just controlled the pace of play throughout the latter stages of the second half. They've not allowed Edinboro really any room to breathe. Donald Whitehead sinks both. Now up to 16 points. Here's Donald Whitehead. Jack Gallagher back in the game for Edinboro. Has factored minutely today, 10 points. Gallagher for Kyrell Green, picks it up, plus the harm. Edinboro not done yet. Kyrell Green with the size. So Jermaine Hall picks up the foul, his 4th. Danny Sandcombe on the Cal bench, animated as per usual. He and Pat Cleary, very fiery head coaches. Don't think I've seen any of them sit down today so far. Good exercise, I guess, when you're on the bench. Edinboro implying the trap. They need some turnovers and quick. Something they have not done much today. Jack Gallagher picks up the foul. KJ McClurg will be heading to the line. And now Jack Gallagher sitting with 4 fouls. Pat Cleary has a decision to make who he goes to on his bench. So both teams now in the double bonus with 5:42 left. McClure go to the first of two. And now 90 points for the game for the Cal Vulcans. Cal can score the basketball. These were two of the better offenses in the conference coming into play today. The problem for Edinboro this season, they can score. They just have had trouble defending. And the same storyline etching itself out tonight. 5.5 minutes for a comeback. Edinboro needs it, and they need it quick to keep their season theoretically alive. Here's Miller. At the logo, gives it up for Kyrell Green. His three-pointer won't go, fell down in the process. Pat Cleary wants a foul. So does Keith Pallick of Cal on the ensuing rebound. But no one's the wiser, and Edinboro will inbound out of bounds. Another whistle away from the play, and a bit of pushing and shoving, some extracurricular after the play. Edinboro bench getting into it. 3 more home games for the Edinboro men's team after this one tonight. The Scots will, though, have 3 of their next 4 contests on the road, and we'll set the schedule for you in a couple of minutes here once we hit the media timeout. Jack Gallagher with no options, so instead he flutters it right into the arms of Caden Hanna. And back come the Vulcans again. Donald Whitehead, slow dribble with the right hand. The Hickory Hornet product in Mercer County. Really good basketball tradition there at Hickory. One of the better high schools in the area for sports as a whole. Whitehead nearly took a tumble. Instead gives it up. Caden Hanna dials it up from 3. That one way off iron. Not Hanna's strong suit. 33% from beyond the arc for his career. Naeem Miller's a little bit better than that, but his three-point attempt catches iron. Bouncing ball into the arms of Hanna, and he's fouled by Bryce Spriggs, and now we're going to get what could be a technical as Spriggs and Hanna come together. Officials having to separate the two of them. Things getting chippy down the stretch. You can tell Edinboro, again, how important this game is for the Scots. Talked about coming into the broadcast and needing to win to really keep their chances at the PSAC tournament alive. Really great opportunity coming into this game tonight. Cal won by 15 the last time Edinboro and Cal played, but Scots never wavered in that game. They kept within 10 for the majority of the contest. So we were listening to the announcement there on the PA system. So Bryce Spriggs picks up the personal, and then Spriggs and Caden Hanna picking up double technical fouls. So Edinboro and Cal will each get technical free throws. And then we'll continue to play on as normal. Pat Cleary still doesn't like the explanation. And he's going to have to be really careful here with 4.5 minutes to go. So 2 free throws coming for Caden Hanna, and the first is up and good. Pat Cleary, 8th season at Edinboro, 70 wins, 84 losses for the Fighting Scots in his tenure with Edinboro. And just really has had trouble being able to just get over the hump this season after leading Edinboro to a 14-11 record in 2021-22. 15-point game as we approach the 4-minute mark of this afternoon tilt. Naeem Miller tiling it up from 3. That one off kilter. Rebound, good pull down by Dominic Keys. Kicks it back out. Miller then works inside. Off the charity stripe, it's Gallagher. Right-hand dribble, pulls it, flushes it back out. Spriggs from deep. That one connects. And Bryce Spriggs trying to spring life into Edinboro here as they, again, imply the full court press. Burrow at 80 points. Can't force the turnover in the back court. Now the front court, Cal trying to work it with Donald Whitehead. Vulcans slowing things down. No need to rush up by 12. Scots have failed to get a stop much at all in the last few minutes of this game, and they're not going to get one here. Keith Pallick at 24 points. The sophomore has done wonders today, and that could be the nail in the coffin as Cal continues to attack offensively. Edinboro on the flip side, it's Gallagher. Will he take Whitehead one-on-one? No, he won't. Gives it up in the corner. It's that of Kyrell Green to the rack, won't fall. Rebound, slams it home with authority. Kyrell Green almost single-handedly has pulled down nearly every offensive rebound for Edinboro today. He's now has 17 for the game. That is 8 more than any other player for the Scots. 2:40 and counting on the clock, a 13-point game. Wonder at what point Edinboro starts to foul to try to drag this game along and force Cal to shoot free throws. Working inside with a right-hand finish and unable to get it, it's Caden Hanna. Edinboro the rebound, and it's Miller working quickly. Doesn't have many numbers, just takes it to the rack himself, lost the rock, and a foul. No, ball out of bounds. As Cal touched it on the baseline, Edinboro will get it back. 2:21 left to go. We go down the stretch from Macomb Fieldhouse. Edinboro needing a miracle, looking for a comeback. We'll have the rest of this coming up next on the Fighting Scots Sports Network. Two minutes and 21 seconds left to potentially keep the season alive for Edinboro. Fighting Scots trailing Cal 95-82. High-scoring game, that's for sure. The Vulcans putting up one of their more impressive conference offensive outputs this season. And trying to get rid of Edinboro for a second time this season, the Fighting Scots, as we talked about, 3 games behind these Cal Vulcans for the 6th and final spot in the PSAC tournament. So a loss here doesn't mathematically eliminate you, but it certainly makes things near impossible for a comeback. Jack Gallagher is hounded on the way in. Donald Whitehead will pick up the foul. And Whitehead, sitting with 17 points, now has his second foul. While Gallagher gets set to shoot a pair, coming up on the schedule for Edinboro men's and women's basketball. Road trip on Wednesday to Seton Hill. The Griffins sweeping Slippery Rock today. That will be a tough game on both ends for both the men and the women's teams. That coming up at 5:30 and 7:30. And then it's back home here on the 11th. We'll have the broadcast of Edinboro and Slippery Rock. The Rock coming into town. Games start at 1 and 3 p.m., as is per customary on Saturday afternoons. Now the rest of the season for Edinboro, not easy. At IUP, at UPJ, Gannon, and Clarion. So 2 arguably the toughest road tests in the entire country before finishing up with the 2 teams below them in the conference. UPJ also winners today. They took down Clarion at home. Whistle and a foul called. KJ McClurg will be the one going to the line with 2:10 to go. Logan Donahue is in the game for Edinboro, playing some defense here, trying to keep the starters at least fresh on the offensive side. Logan Donahue had a General McLean in his junior season for the Fighting Scots. Part of that laundry list of players and assistant coaches that have hailed from the local area. Donahue and Alex Jay, graduates of General McLean, just graduating 1 year apart from each other. Jay, of course, finishing up his senior season on the team last year, now a graduate assistant coach for Pat Cleary. Well, Cal is hitting their free throws today, 24 of 26 from the charity stripe. So no struggle there. It'll be tough for Edinboro to come back, especially if they can't get any defensive stops here in the next two trips. 97-84. Naeem Miller working inside. He's had a healthy night tonight, 12 points, but traveled there. Another turnover for Edinboro. They've committed 14 of them in the game today, and so Pat Cleary will send back in his reserves for this defensive possession. Final 2 minutes of a doubleheader here from Macomb Fieldhouse. Scots women winning the earlier tilt 83-77 and a big win over Cal. So they will sit in second place going into next week. Just 3 weeks to go in the PSAC season. Final day of the regular season, February 25th, and then we'll play the tournament right after that. And we'll see if both the Fighting Scot men and women are in the tournament once we get there. We know the women will be. Question is with the men. Good back in play inside to dominate Keys. Cuts it to 11. Keys up to 20. But Edinboro's got to get another couple of stops here. Odd man rush the other way. Reverse layup by Cam Pollock. Got hacked on the way by Keys. And so Pollock is heading to the line. Keys now with 4 fouls. Cal on the verge of eclipsing the 100-point plateau today. They have been a menace to deal with inside as well. Points in the paint are even, but Cal has dominated in the second half specifically. 47% from the field. Edinboro at 35% for the second half. Starters coming back in for this offensive series with 90 seconds to go. We'll see how long Pat Cleary tries to extend the game here. You wouldn't think he'd concede too early, again, given the circumstances of this game for his squad. DJ Slaughter returns for Cal. He's played sparingly today, though he did start the game for Danny Sancom. 90 seconds on the game clock as we wind things down here from Macomb. Kyrell Green, 3. That one splits the nylon, and Pat Cleary calls timeout. The Fighting Scots staying in it have cut it to a 9-point game, and Kyrell Green's up to 24. We're back in 30 seconds. On the game clock here from Edinboro, 98-89. Cal in front of the Fighting Scots, but Edinboro has tried to stay in it. Just a 9-point game, and so Pat Cleary, as long as his team's within striking distance, is going to slow play this game. Home run pass finds Donald Whitehead, and the Fighting Scots at some point will have to foul. Look out, that ball went over the backcourt, but off a tip, the officials say. So it stays in Cal possession, and now Logan Donahue will foul that of Cam Pollock. So Edinboro nearly forced a turnover there. Instead, the Vulcans will be shooting free throws. First of 2 is good. Cal this season on offense, one of the better teams in the conference, have not struggled to score. 3 players in this game today over 20 points. Pollock looking for his 9th. He's got it. And 100 points on the board for the Cal Vulcans tonight. Minute 15 left on the clock. Edinboro has to hurry. Here's Bryce Spriggs. Across the timeline, Kyrell Green to Naeem Miller. Those are the two who will likely shoot it. Miller spin cycle to the rack. Can't get it to finish. Rebound Dominic Keys. Goes around and in for two. Back to a 9-point game with 1:03 to go. And Dominic Keys keeping Edinboro in it again. So Pat Cleary will once again sub in his reserves. And this is what you call mass substitutions late in the game. Edinboro just going to keep doing this. They're not out of the game yet. Chance of making an 8-point game. Can't get it, and that's a huge miss there from Dominic Keys. Some more free throws coming for Cal on the ensuing end. So 61 seconds to go. Free throws now become a premium here in this game. But we talked about throughout the broadcast, Cal has been proficient in that. 27 of 30 from the line. And Jermaine Hall, the man at the line, 4 of 4 today. Make it 5 of 5. If you're Edinboro, you would love to get another quick bucket here. 3-pointers are going to be key down the stretch, 2 for Edinboro. 7 of 22 of the Scots are from beyond the arc today. One more for Hall. Rattles out. 10-point game. Edinboro starts the rush again. Springs up the timeline. Looking for Miller. And finds him. Miller in some trouble. Right hand to the rack. That's good. And one! So Cal continues to foul in the worst of ways. And for a second straight trip, a chance for a 3-point play. This time Naeem Miller. So back to an 8-point game. And as we have seen about 1.5 million times in the last minute, back in come the subs for Edinboro. And a big free throw for Miller. It's up and good. So the lead is down to 7. Well, you got to give Pat Cleary's squad credit. They are clawing their way as much as they possibly can to the finish line. They're not going to go down without a fight. Would love a turnover here. Pollock gets the inbound, and Edinboro trying to swipe it away. Oh, Spriggs nearly did. Pat Cleary wanted to travel, not going to get one. And now Edinboro has to foul. They nearly turn it over again. Bouncing ball on the sideline. What do we have? It's out of bounds. There's a foul coming. Who's going to pick it up? Cam Pollock had the ball in his grasp. Jack Gallagher was around there as well. And the foul's going against Cam Pollock. So the Scots get the turnover, and Jack Gallagher gets a chance for 2 free throws. Gallagher on the season, 73% from the line. Chance to cut it to 5 if he makes both, and he makes the first. So the Scots, again, like we talked about, will need to foul one more time or try to create a turnover. Gallagher up to 13, looking for another one. Can't get it to fall. 6-point game, and now a foul called against Edinboro as Easton Fulmore picks it up. Or check that, no, that's Ryan Lajovic that picks it up for the Fighting Scots. So a 6-point game, and 2 free throws coming for Keith Palak. Pat Cleary's squad, if you have to give out an award for their grit tonight, it would certainly be it. And you look at the scoreboard and you think, man, 95 points normally would be enough to win on any night. But they've allowed 102. Palak good on the second, and timeout is called by the Vulcans' Danny Sancom. 8-point lead for Cal with 37 seconds to go. Can Edinboro pull off the comeback? We'll take a 30-second break and find out right after this. So 37 seconds to go here from Macomb Fieldhouse in what has been a marathon last 2 minutes. Edinboro trailing by 8, still trying to stay in this game. 103-95, and they've got the ball. Need to inbound it. Naeem Miller sprinting across the timeline, looking for a couple of big points here at the top of the key, wasting a lot of time. Pulls back, puts up a floater. That's too short. Rebound, Keys inside, puts it back home. And a full timeout called by Edinboro with 26.5 seconds left to go in the game. Back to a 6-point tilt. And again, we'll step aside. 6-point game.
Together expert faculty. Offer programs in high-demand fields. Add in a few centuries of tradition. You might call it the future of higher education. We're calling it Pennsylvania Western University. We've combined the resources of California, Clarion, and Edinboro to create a new way to educate, where opportunities are boundless and tomorrow is yours to define. Built on tradition, built for your future. Welcome to Penn West.
Back we are here at Macomb Fieldhouse. If it seems like we're going at a snail's pace, we are, because Edinboro trying to stay in it. 103-97, the Fighting Scots in the last minute and 10 seconds have gone from down 13 to down 6, but they're running out of time. 26.5 seconds left to go in this game, and the Fighting Scots desperately needing a turnover. Cal has played a splendid offensive game today, and they're 30 of 34 from the charity stripe. So we'll see what happens on this inbound. Cal gets it in. It's Pollock trying to get the foul. Edinboro doesn't foul yet. 21 seconds to go. Cal trying to get it over the timeline. Edinboro just needs to hack somebody, and they do. Kyrell Green picks up the foul. It's his 4th. But that took 8 seconds off the clock. And it sends Cam Pollock to the line 85% on the season. What a game so far today from the 3 big stars for the Cal Vulcans. Jermaine Hall Jr. as Pollock's first free throw is short. Hall Jr. 27 points. Keith Palak 26. And KJ McClurk sitting at 21. Keys and Kyrell Green for Edinboro 24 each. Big second free throw coming up here for Cam Pollock. Able to get it to fall, back to a 7-point lead, and Cal will call a timeout. 19.5 seconds on the clock. We're back for the finish, we promise, after this. Scott's getting it out of the timeout here, down by 7, 19 seconds to go. Needing a basket, and here goes Naeem Miller. Sprinting over half court, getting this screen, driving in for 2, won't fall, rebound, who's got it? Keys fighting for it, pulled down by Keith Palak, and a foul is called with 8 seconds to go, and that will likely do it. Well, Edinboro did everything they possibly could down the stretch to try to keep this a game. But Cal is going to walk out of here with a second consecutive win this season on the Fighting Scots. And they did it with offense. 104 points so far on the scoreboard for Cal. First free throw up and good by Keith Palak. He now has tied Hall with the team leading points today, 27 for the Vulcans. And Edinboro's season not over yet, but the chances at a playoff berth now looking ever so slim. Three-pointer on the way by Keys, won't fall, and the horn sounds to end it. A dejected Macomb Fieldhouse crowd salutes the team as it's Cal